Here is my review for Justice League, which just premiered in Sweden tonight. I was able to go see it. Highly anticipated, and overall, without spoiling anything, definitely feels like DC have made their first Marvel movie. This is very much sort of like an Avengers light, if you will. That is sort of the overall tone, the overall feel, the overall approach to this movie. And I think that's both a positive and a negative. It's nowhere near as muddled as Batman vs. Superman, so that's a good thing. It's entertaining, it's simple, but it's also very forgettable. There is nothing really super interesting or memorable or allegorical or metaphorical about this movie. It's not that kind of movie. And I think that's too bad, honestly. But it is entertaining overall. It's pretty good overall, but it's just, a popcorn action movie. This was, of course, directed by Zack Snyder, but he had to step away. He delivered a cut of the movie, but then he had to step away due to the unfortunate suicide of his daughter. Joss Whedon stepped in and did some rewrites and reshoots and finished up the film. So yes, there are a couple of sequences in this movie that definitely feel like they were added. Like, alright, that's a Joss Whedon moment, that's a Joss Whedon scene, that's a Joss Whedon line, for sure. And it can be a little bit jarring sometimes, just a little bit, because this is almost a total 180 in a lot of ways. Batman vs. Superman and the other movies were 2:35:1. This is an IMAX format. They had music by Hans Zimmer. This has music by Danny Elfman, who reuses a lot of classic superhero themes, like the classic Superman theme from the 70s and his own classic Batman theme. And it's a lot lighter, there's a lot more humor. Some of the humor works, some of the humor was a little bit cringy, to be honest. But The Flash is a lot of fun. Ezra Miller was really great as The Flash. He's kind of like an ADHD kid in a candy store throughout this movie, just grinning and having a great time. Aquaman was awesome, really badass. Also has one of the funniest scenes in the entire movie. And the team dynamic works overall. It does work. It is an entertaining movie. It is an entertaining action movie, but it's a bit forgettable. Steppenwolf is not the most memorable villain ever, but I actually kind of liked him in a way because he does have a presence. He does feel intimidating. This is not a guy you fuck around with. Ciarán Hinds has such a fantastic voice. I liked Steppenwolf. I thought he was cool. I mean, he's not like a very three-dimensional character, obviously. He's like a big monster, and we sort of know his deal, so not very complicated. And this movie is very... Sometimes it just feels like it's sort of going through the motions, and I guess that's my biggest problem with the story. It just feels like, okay, we'll do A, and then we'll do B, then we'll do C, then we'll do D, and we'll deliver on all those things, and then the audience will like it, And it feels like a very... I hate to sound too cynical, but it feels like a very, very thought-out product that you're watching sometimes. And I think that's too bad. I like movies where they're able to take some risks, take some chances. It doesn't always work, but I like that when they're able to do that. And I don't mind if movies are darker in tone or more complicated. Like, imagine if The Dark Knight premiered in 2008 and all the critics just said, "This movie's terrible. I don't like this movie at all. They're not smiling at all. There's no humor at all. Why aren't they smiling and joking? Where's the humor and levity?" And then they recut The Dark Knight Rises and added a bunch of jokes and a lot of sunshine and playfulness. Like, you see the problem there? To me, tone is not the issue at all. You can make a movie pitch black and really dark and really serious, and it can still be a fantastic movie. It's all about the storytelling and what you're trying to convey, what you're trying to achieve. And that's why I feel like directors need just free reign. DC needs to just lay off. Believe in your directors. Patty Jenkins was allowed to deliver Wonder Woman, and I think that's why that movie worked. Doesn't have anything to do with tone. It's just she was allowed to make her movie, and I really hope that that's going to be the future for the DC films, especially with these standalone hero films, because they need that so desperately now. Just lay off. Just lay off and let the directors make their movies, please. Justice League is still fun. It's fun. It kind of delivers what you expect. It kind of goes through all the beats and all the motions, and I don't know. In a way, that's a good thing. In a way, it's a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's very like, well, it is entertaining for the moment, but it's not an impactful movie. It's not something you're gonna wake up and think, oh man, that was just so memorable. That really impacted me and hit me on an emotional level. Like, no, it's not that movie at all. Some of the action sequences feel a bit rushed. It's a very fast-paced movie in a lot of ways. Especially the action sequences, I felt were very strangely edited sometimes. Because you cannot blink for a second in this movie because there's a lot of things going on, and I mean both a lot of things going on in the actual action itself, and a lot of things going on, little in nods and in details. If you know your DC comics, if you know your superhero stuff, then please keep your eyes open and at attention throughout this movie, because there are a lot of little details thrown in there that you're probably going to enjoy. I certainly did. As for the action, there is a ton of CGI in this movie. Just a ton of CGI all over, and that can be very jarring. Very clearly green screen shots all over the place, and they needed to work on them longer. So that was a big pet peeve of mine in this movie. A lot of CGI, and Superman's mustache is the least of the movie's CGI problems. Just very, very fake. Not a trend I'm digging, and I hope they won't be using that too much in the future. There are also 2 end credit scenes that you should stay for. All I'll say about those is they both surprised me. I'll leave it at that, but you need to see them both for sure. So Justice League, definitely a mixed bag. Some of this movie works, some of it doesn't work. It's not a total disaster, but it's never quite great either. There are some cringy moments, and there are just some things where I think they pushed it a bit too far in the opposite direction, and it just feels a little bit forced because it's just a bit jarring to me. But honestly, if you like the Avengers, then you can watch Justice League because it's not that dissimilar. It's the Avengers light, pretty much. Maybe this movie should have been a little bit longer, 10 or 15 minutes, just a few more character beats. Just let the movie breathe a little bit, but overall it was entertaining. I did like it overall. It was just, there were some moments that were just, I don't know, a bit too forced. It felt a bit like, okay, this is definitely like they're very, very much trying to watch their every move here, and they're trying to take these baby steps in a different direction. And movies are just products these days almost. They're just big tentpole products, and I think that's too bad. I want the directors to be able to take chances. I want them to be able to feel confident in telling their stories, and sometimes I feel like audiences just want something that is just easy to digest, that is just full of jokes and humor, and they can laugh and go home, and that's it. And I don't think all movies should be like that, honestly, because that's not challenging your audience. That's not making you think. That's not making you feel, and that's too bad. Maybe I'm getting a little bit... Maybe I'm reading too much into these superhero popcorn flicks. But yeah, this is a superhero popcorn flick. Very, very traditional one at that. It is entertaining. It does deliver on all the key things you expect, which is a good thing. I like the action. I like the characters. And I actually liked a lot of the humor. I liked especially the Flash. Humor with him works a lot. There are some laugh out loud moments there for sure. Others, not so much maybe. It's going to be very interesting to see the movies coming up now, because this one is a bit reactionary. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see the upcoming DC movies. Justice League, for me, I'm probably going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's not amazing in any way, but it's okay. It's an entertaining movie for what it is. I'm going to go see it again on Saturday. We actually had a problem with the projection of the movie, so they ran the movie and we got like 2 scenes into the movie, but it was projected the wrong size, so they actually had to resize the projection of the movie, and then they played the whole thing over again. So I actually got to see the first 2 scenes twice, so that was interesting. Yeah, Justice League, definitely a mixed bag. Not a great film, but like it was, pretty much your average superhero team-up movie, and yeah, a lot more Marvel. So yeah, I just hope that they don't feel like they have to keep pushing that. I just hope that they feel that they can confidently tell their stories. And I don't mind levity, I don't mind humor. It's alright to have some humor in a movie. It doesn't have to be like dead serious all the time. But I also don't want them to feel like they have to have a joke every 5 minutes, because to me that just renders the movie one big joke. I cannot take movies seriously when they're just trying to be light and fluffy and funny all the time. So yeah, in summary, this is kind of like a Marvel movie, but at least it's like one of the less horrible Marvel movies. In other words, one of the earlier Marvel movies, sort of like an Avengers light. But it's a bit rushed. Like when the team needs to come together, they do come together rather fast. Everybody has their sort of character build-up moments, and that's fine. But then it's like, okay, well, here's your team. They're all together, and now we fight. And yeah, and they fight, and there's humor, and yeah, a little underwhelmed, to be honest. Wasn't great. It was okay. It was a decent, watchable popcorn action comedy superhero movie. But if you like Marvel movies and you like that tone and that style a lot more, movies like, you know, The Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that, then yeah, chances are you're probably gonna like this a lot more. And if you've felt that their previous movies were too dark and grim and there was not enough smiling and laughing, then yeah, you're almost definitely gonna like this one more. Justice League, that's my summary of the movie. That's my first impressions of the movie. Gotta go see it again on Saturday. We'll see what I feel. I liked it, but I didn't love it. It was not great. It was not very good. It was pretty good. Pretty good overall. So yeah, that's my summary of Justice League. Let me know what you guys think. No spoilers here. Keep it away. But if you have seen the movie, what did you think of it? If you have plans to go see the movie, when are you checking it out? So anyway, that was it for me. Take care of yourselves, and I will catch you in the future.